Okay, let's do another one. Do we need to do the second one, or can we skip a little bit? It says, oh, we already did number 2. We did it yesterday, correct? 4/5 of the soybean crop, didn't we do that yesterday? I think I did it with my other class. So let's do, that's on the, we also did number 4 with the truffles, okay? So you want to make sure that you can do those. There's videos on those, okay? All right. Now, it says, Alfredo sent 2/5 of his potato crop to market last week. This week he sent 2/3 of the remainder. Okay? So he sent 2/5 of his potato crop to market last week. It said Alfredo sent 2/5 of his potato crop to market last week. This week he sent 2/3 of the remainder. What fraction of his crop has now gone to market? Any ideas? Any ideas? Yes or no? Alfred sent 2/5 of his potato crop to market last week. This week, he sent 2/3. Right? Shall we try B instead? It says, A says, what fraction of his crop has now gone to market? But maybe, just maybe, if we had actual numbers, we might be able to figure it out more easily. Yes, let's see if that's the case with you guys. It says, if he has 860 kilograms remaining, what was the original weight of the crop? All right, now let's do this the way I would do it at your age. Okay, what's the answer? What's the answer? Go to the back of the book. You know, I know that it's sometimes difficult to participate, but find the answer, everybody. You know how to do that in this book? We're on exercise 4D. What's the answer? No. Okay, all right, listen carefully. Are we doing part A or part B? We're doing part B, right? Okay, good. So what's the answer to part B?
778.
What is it?
778. 778.
Okay, Rod, try it. Can you figure this out or not? This is number 5 on exercise 4D, right? We got A and B, okay? What's the answer to B? All right, one person, yes.
4,300.
4,300, right? And what's the answer to A?
4 over 5.
What is it?
4 over 5.
1 over 5, okay. 4 over 5. Okay, now, this is the deal. Now, the answer is actually meaningless. What's important relative to this problem? What is it? How you solve it. We call that the process, okay? How much is left over? How much is left over? You've got to look at the problem, guys, okay? How much is left over? I can put my finger right on it and see, yes. How much? What is it? No. Remember, we're doing part B. Yes. 860. 860 kilograms, right? And we're trying to figure out, well, all right, if 860 kilograms are left over, what does that represent? Let's read the problem again. It says, Alfredo sent 2/5 of his potato crop to market last week. This week he sent 2/3 of the remainder. Right? So what does this represent?
So the remainder.
How much of the remainder?
What the? Wait.
Go ahead. You can be right or wrong. Either way, it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
1/3?
Yeah, this represents 1/3. It says, last week, he sent 2/5 of the crop to market, doesn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. This week, he sent 2/3 of the remainder. So what does this represent? What does that represent? What fraction of the remainder does that represent? 1/3, okay? Does it represent 1/3 or 3/5? 1/3. So what would you do to that to get the total amount of the remainder? What would you do to that number? What would you do? Yes, what would you do? This represents 1/3 of the remainder. What would I do to that number to get the total remainder? What would I do? What would I do? You have to speak up. I can't hear you if you whisper. Times what? Times it by what? Times it by 3. You can't say that out loud. I have to read your lips. So what is 3 times 860? What is 3 times 360?
Oh, wait, it's a long way.
80.
What is 3 times 860?
2,580.
No.
Yeah.
Don't use a calculator.
It is.
2,780.
500.
500.
2,780?
No, it's
580.
2,700.
What?
No.
Wait, no,
2,580.
2,580.
We calculate now. Oh.
Okay. It's a little troubling that it's very, very basic division.
2,600 something.
No, it's
800 times
All right, let's, you can laugh at that, but that's a little scary, guys. Do you know how to do this? Do you know how to multiply this? What's 3 times 0? No, I'm asking percent.
0.
It's 30 or 0?
0.
Okay, what's 3 times 6?
24.
No, excuse me.
18.
What's 3 times 8?
24.
And I gotta carry that.
Yeah.
So what's 24 and 1? Right? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. What is that? What number does that represent?
3.
No, what? Okay, it represents the total remaining, but relative to the first time he took a fraction of the potatoes.
So we need to divide by 5.
No. What does this represent? This represents the total remainder, right?
Yes.
After what? The remainder. After what? After he took what?
250.
After he took 2/5. So how many fifths does this represent? This represents 3/5. So what would I do to this to get the total amount? What would I do?
Divided by 5.
Divide by, no. If I divided by 5,
3.
I would divide by 3, yes. Aren't I going to divide by 3? Yes or no? Aren't I going to divide by 3? Yes or no? Right? And what's that going to be? If I divide by 3, what's it going to be? It's going to be a fifth, right? Because this represents 3/5, doesn't it? Yes or no? It's just a coincidence that you kind of divided it, you multiplied it by 3. So what's that going to equal if I divide that by 3?
Yes, you can do
860, right? We're going backwards. But that's okay. Is that confusing? No, it's a little weird. It's a little coincidental, but is it confusing? There's a difference. Okay? So now, what do I do to that number? What do I do to that number to get the total amount? Times it by 5, right? Times it by 5 or what? And if I multiply 860 by 5, what do you get?
4,300.
Yeah, 5 times 800 is what? 5 times 800.
It's 4,000.
4,000, right? Then 5 times 60?
300.
300. 4,300
Yeah.
is what?
4,300.
4,300. You get it? Okay, that's the problem, part 1. Clear? That's part 1. It's time to go, so we'll do part 2. I'll actually film part 2 without you guys in here. Okay, and part 2 will be A. That's actually B. Okay, so look for it. Yeah, you've got to give me those folders. Okay, put them up here. Okay, and we're off. Make sure everybody has the folders done.